Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back. So, in last video, we actually constructed a backend model cat class for our app. So, the backend of our app now is actually pretty powerful because we can add arbitrary numbers of helper functions inside the class for our frontend to call. And now you can see we have to still hard coded actually cats in our table view. So in this video, I want to talk about how to construct details views for each cat, and especially I want to talk about this concept in iOS development, the Segue. So now you can see in our app when we click each cat, there's nothing happening. So what if I actually want to tap this cat and see like the details about this cat, like its age, its type, its birthday, whatever. So to do this, actually go back to our main storyboard and add another view controller. So we'll add this like the most normal view controller to our storyboard, and we'll use this as our detail view. So because we actually want to like go to this view when we click this cell, so let's do the same thing for as we did to our button. So just click our cell here and control drag. So control and drop it to the destination view controller we want to send our view to. So, and we'll still choose the Segue show here. And then you see, because we are using show Segue, it is adding this details view controller to our stack of views. And thus, it also has this little navigation bar at the top. Okay, good. And in our detail views, we actually want to have a larger image for our cat. So instead of this kind of like little thumbnail image, we actually really want to have a like clear ID photo for our cats. And also we want some label to show its names. Yeah, let's make it longer and also make the text align in the middle. Good. And also we want to have we want to have a label to show its age. So also make it longer. Actually, I don't think we need that this length to just show the age, but whatever, the longer the better. Oh yeah, and we need another label to show its type. So I'll make it longer, and then make it stay in the middle and a line in the middle too. So good. Let's use this hacky way to reset everything to constraint. Perfect. Great. So as usual, let's add a brain to this view controller. So because this is just a normal view controller, we will just add a class which is a subclass of UI view controller. And how we should name it? Let's see. Because this is detail view controller, so let's just give a name detail view controller. Great. And so remember how to link this file to our storyboard. Yeah, so just click this view controller yellow circle here and go to our identity inspector and type in the name of the class. So hit enter. Great. Then the next step, as usual, link all the elements we want to modify in this view controller to its corresponding class. So remember, you have to choose the right class here. Just don't throw your objects into like another class which is totally unrelated to it. So in our case, we want to go to our detail controller and delete the headers. Okay, so let's put it inside our class. First thing is an image view, so give it a name, image view. And the first label will be our name label. So although we are like giving them the same name as the ones in our table view cell, but there won't be a naming conflict because they are members of different classes. And the second is age label. And the third thing is so yeah, type label. Type label. Great. So now we have constructed this new view, and also we have constructed its brain roughly. So let's compile and see the facts. Let's go back to our TableViewController here, and yeah, okay. Delete some extraneous lines. There are so many. Here you can see some other interesting methods for table view. Like for example, here you can enable this method to allow your user to rearrange your rows, and also I think there's yeah, so this can allow your user to edit your row, and also I think there should be a method that allows the user to delete the rows. You can enable this for them, but by default it's like disabled. So now we can go to our cat, and when we click on Alice, see our detail view controller. Okay, so now the problem is that when we click into both Alice and Bob, the detail view shows us the same thing. So like default text for labels and like the default blank image basically. Okay, so the question is, how should we let this details view know which cat it should present? So if we are currently at this details view, like if we don't pass any information from our table view to our detail view, how should we know which cat to present? Because like for each cat, the attributes we have are like exactly the same, so it's 3 labels and 1 image. Yeah, so it's crucial for our table view. Before it like just go to the next level, it should actually prepare some information for the next view it want to go to. In order to do this, we need to enable this method in our TableViewController, which is called, actually let me enable this first. You can see the mark here is navigation, so it basically means this this method here is for navigation purpose. and it is called prepare for a segue. So as you can see from the name, it is preparing information for the next view it is going to. And the segue here, actually we can see this in our storyboard. So you can understand segue as just as transitions between different views. So visually, the segue is represented by this arrow here. So if we click on this, you can see this segue is from this cell to this view. And actually, we can give each segue, we can treat each segue as an object and give them an identifier. So to give them a name, we just go like toggle out our right panel and go to our attributes inspector. And well, each segue should have a like unique identifier if we really want to distinguish between them. So yeah, I'll give it a name, detail, cat, segue. Okay. So each segue object, it has a destination controller. So a destination view controller, which in our case is this entire view controller. And it also has a sender, which in our case is this cell here. Okay, now we can go back to our table view controller and populate our, not this one, populate our prepare for segue method. Good. So remember this method here is not specialized for our cell to details view controller segue. So it can actually be used for any segue in our table view controller. So yeah, for example, if we like have a button here somewhere and it goes to the other view controller, that prepare for a segue method can also be used to prepare for this segue. Thus, in this method, we need to identify between like different segues from one single view controller. And in this case, in this kind of situation, the identifier of each segue becomes very important. So here we have to add an if statement. So if so this method takes two input, one is segue, one is sender. So the sender is just a cell in our case. So if the segue's identifier is equal to the identifier we just gave it. So it's detail cat segue. Okay, so if the identifier of the segue is equal to this, then we want to prepare the cat's information, right? Also, in order to do this, we have to first get the destination view controller of this segue. So let's create a new variable. Let's destination. So well, I'll just call it dest_vc. So let destination view controller equal to segue dot destination. Okay. See, like here the type of this destination is UI view controller. But well, since we know that our destination is actually this detail view controller here, we can like just hard cast it to detail view controller class. Detail view controller. Okay, so now our dest_vc becomes an object of details view controller, and correspondingly it will have all these attributes. Good. So the next thing is to actually get the row number of the sender, right? Because only after we have this row number can we know which cat we are tapping. So to do this, let's create another variable. So actually, let's create an index path. Let's first get the index path of this sender. So yeah, actually, here the sender is like of any type, but since we know the sender is actually a table view cell, and especially cat table view cell, so let's hardcast it to cat table view cell. And oh yeah, and also our table view, like our table view has a method of getting the index path for yeah, for a UI table view cell here. So yeah, actually we should just cut this, and yeah, so the self here is actually our cat table view controller class here, and the table view is like the table view embedded in it. So since our class is a table view controller, the table view in it is one of its attributes actually, and each table view has a method called index path 4, and it takes in a cell, so it will return the index path 4 of this cell. So now we are just getting the index path of our sender here, and we hard casted our sender to a cat table view cell because we know it has a type of cat table view cell, basically. Good. So now we can get the row number from our index path. And yeah, so let's row equal to index path dot row. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So the next thing is just to set the fields in our destination view controller to be the information of the cat in the corresponding index in our cat array. So to do this, let's just dest vc dot name label dot text equal to the corresponding cat in our cat array. So cat dot cat array. So the rows cats in our cat array, and we want to get its name. So okay, should be good. We have to unwrap the row here. Yeah. So next thing is just age. But since the age is stored as an int here, we actually have to cast it to string. Okay, and also we want to actually not just present a number, but show like this cat is like 2 year old, that kind of stuff. Okay, good. And then the next thing is just dest vc dot type. label and text is equal to type. And the last thing here is our photo. So image view dot image is equal to this cat's image. Yep. Okay, great. So we are basically done here. Yeah, let's compile this. And hopefully it won't crash. Okay. Let's see. TableViewController, details view, Segue. Okay, it's building. Build succeeded. I sincerely hope it won't crash. You will never know whether it actually works or not until you try it out. So, I have a bad feeling now. Well, usually, like when you encounter this kind of situation in your app, 9 out of 10 means it has crashed. Okay, yeah. So let's see, what is the problem? Oh, unexpectedly found nil while unwrapping an option value. So what is the option value here? Let's actually print out the row number here. And destination, name, label, text. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know. So actually the problem is because here we are still at our table view here, and our destination view, the object, has not yet been initialized yet. So which means the text attribute of our name label is just new. Yeah, so we cannot actually directly access the name label here. So okay, so what we will do is actually just add some fields in our detail controller, which is not this stuff, but our own primitive type attributes. So yeah, for example, let's give a name and initialize as empty string, and also give it an age, and also give it a type, and also give it a image. So this is your image. Yep. And let's see whether I can skip the initialization for image. Well, it didn't complain, so okay. And yeah, here instead of directly accessing this, actually let me copy this first into our detail controller. So in this class, every time we have loaded this view, we actually want to set the objects on our screen to have the value of these fields here. So now we can actually just let it to be the name, let it to be the age, and let it to be the type, and let it to be the image. Oh, and also we don't need this anymore because we are already inside our class now. Great. And then we'll go back to our view controller. Yeah, instead of accessing this, we actually want to, no, we just want to have the, we just want to access the name field here and the age field here, type field here, and the image field here. So now this time it should be good. Let's see. This time it will definitely work, I swear. I really swear. Alice? Okay, great. Although somehow the name label is not shown. Yeah, we probably made some mistake in our position constraint again. Actually, do not trust this. Do not trust this button anymore. So, well, let's actually clear all the constraints, and for this image, we want to set the top margin, the left and right margin, and the height. Okay. And then for this one, let's see. Just set the left and right and the height, and well, probably to the image view. Alright, we'll see the effect. And then here is left and right, height. Okay. Here it's also left and right, and the height. So let's see whether this time it will work or not. Now here actually, like, we can set the content model here. So when the image view actually has a different size from your original view, original image, you can set like scale to fill, aspect fit, aspect fill, all these different mode. So great. So now because we actually like restricted the height of this image, we can like, now the size of this image is really like the same as the image view here. Great. And Alice 1 year old and pretty short hair, and Bob is 2 years old, American short hair. Okay, perfect. So that's so much for today's video. And next, in next series we will actually start to let user to really access this table view and allow them to edit it by adding their own cats instead of these two like hard-coded cats we just force them to have. Okay, so see you in the next video.